Hey everyone, this is Jim. Welcome back. This is our second video on this channel, where it's basically my journey with diabetes and how I'm going to get rid of it. The reason for this video is this paper right here. It's the results of my 90-day blood work. So let me go back to the first video quickly and give you an idea of what we talked about there. Basically the fact that I've had diabetes 15 or 20 years, and how over the years my A1C has been usually in 8s or above, as high as 14 at one point. I didn't take diabetes very seriously back then, and I am now. What happened between the time I wasn't being serious and the time now that I am serious is that I learned some things that I didn't know before. My son gave me some ideas about my diet and how it would help with diabetes. I went to the internet, I read a bunch of stuff on it, I watched a lot of videos, and I got my information mainly from doctors. One in particular is a heart surgeon. So I wanted to make sure the people I was getting information from were credible. And what I found out is you change your diet and your A1C can come down. And if you stick with the plan long enough, you can actually reverse the diabetes. Now this intrigued me, because the last time I went to the doctor in December, I brought this information to him. I told him what I had learned. He agreed it can be reversed. And I told him the diet I was going to do, and he said, yes, that's a good diet. It'll definitely bring your blood sugars down. So I had his authority to go ahead and do this without worrying about anything, which that's what I wanted to hear. So now that he blessed the whole idea that I'm going to get on this trip and reverse my diabetes, I made the first video to tell the world what I was going to do. Like I said, I wasn't serious about diabetes before all this. And I should have been, because my sister had diabetes, and she was taking insulin shots twice a day, I think. She ended up losing both of her legs and died of a heart attack. So I know the different things that can happen to you if you have diabetes. Now, back then when I wasn't serious, I didn't take my sugars very regularly. I'd go for a time where maybe in a week I might test it 4 or 5 times, and that's it. Then I might go 2 or 3 weeks and not even check it. And there was a point, at one point, I think I probably went about a year and never checked it. Gives you the idea of the mindset I had at the time. Not important. But anyway, after I learned all this stuff, realized it is important, that the readings are important, I got serious. And I decided I was going to change my diet and do this. So now, I take this meeting and I take my blood sugars regularly. When I first get up in the morning, and most of the time I'll check it 2 or 3 times a day. Sometimes maybe only once, but I definitely check it every day. And what I've seen since I've been on this diet, my sugar levels, before when I did take it, it was in the 300s, even in the 400s at times, many times. So when I started the diet, I started checking this all the time, and when I did, I found out my blood sugars were coming down. And right now, my blood sugar ranges anywhere from 90 into about 180. I think in the last 90 days, I've had like 3 readings over 200 is all. So that's good. I got my sugars down to where they're supposed to be. So I know my A1C is going to be good when I go back and test it again after 90 days. How good? I don't know. But since my blood sugars are in range, I'm thinking after 90 days, I'll be happy when I go to the doctor if he says it's 7.5, because I started at 9.8. Well, anyway, we go to the doctor last week. I did the blood work 2 weeks ago, I think it was. Went to the doctor last week. He had the results. He went over them with me. And lo and behold, my A1C dropped from 9.8 to 6.1. And that's in a 90-day period. That's it. That's all long I've been doing this. So, for you people out there that are on diabetes, that want to do something to make yourself healthier and not have all these complications you get when you have diabetes, listen to what I'm saying, because it works. But I just didn't do this on the whim of somebody telling me, yeah, it's a good idea just to do it this way and you'll get your blood sugars up. I went to doctors. I read stuff on the internet from doctors. I looked at results of different studies they did and showed that if you eat this, your blood sugars come way down. So I had the education. That's what you got to get first, the education. Then you go to your doctor. You do not do this on your own. Go to your doctor, explain to them like I did what I was going to do, and make sure they're in your corner before you start. Once you have their blessing, by all means, go for it. Now, when I went back to the doctor last week and he told me all this, I showed him a list of my medications that I'm on, and I asked him, I said, well, since my blood sugar is all the way down to 6.1, is there any of these medications I can quit taking now, or do I need to keep doing it? He looked at my list, and at the time I was doing metformin, I was doing lisinopril for my high blood pressure, Januvia, glipizide, you name it. I'm on all these drugs for diabetes and everything. And he told me, he said, Jim, go ahead, stop all your medications with the exception of Trulicity, which is an EpiPen injection I do once a week, and my high blood pressure medication, which was lisinopril. So I went from, I think, 8 meds down to 2 in the first 90-day period. Now, I'd probably be on my blood pressure meds maybe the rest of my life. I don't know. But I'm hoping maybe this will get my blood pressure in an acceptable range where I can get off of that too. We'll see. But that's a big, big step forward. Because medications, even if you pay the co-pays on the Trulicity alone, when I refill that, it's like $60 out of pocket. So to get all these meds out of your situation, not only are you going to not have those side effects, but you're also going to save some money. So that's good. So what I want to say here is what my diet was exactly during those last 90 days. First thing I did, I cut out all sugar, no sweets, nothing that's made of sugar, chocolate syrup, guava juice, guava syrup, and all this other stuff. No, gone. Don't use any of that anymore. No sweetener whatsoever, except I was still using some Equal. I've since transitioned over to stevia, but that's it. No sugar, no cakes, no pastries, none of that. Then I cut out all the carbs in my diet. No bread, no pasta, no French fries, anything that had white flour in it, no, gone, out of my life. And I was religiously doing this for the whole 90-day period. The other thing I was doing in the morning, I would drink a glass of lemon juice. And I'd put a couple of packets of stevia in that. And at night, before I go to bed, I'll make some hot tea, sleepy time tea, or the tea that don't have any caffeine in it. I'll put a couple bags in a big glass, boiling water. I add about a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar into the mix. I put a little bit of cinnamon in it, and then I also put a packet or two of stevia to kind of sweeten it up just a little bit. and I take that every night before I go to bed. Really helps you sleep good. That's it. If I have to stop at a McDonald's, and it's been one time, I think it was, and I got a hamburger, and I threw the bread away, and I ate just the meat and the pickles, I think it was, about all was in it. But no bread whatsoever, no buns, no nothing. I mean, no taco shells or nothing. Nothing that's got any kind of carbs in it, made with wheat, made with white flour, all of it eliminated from my diet. That's all I did. Now, let me take you back. Before I started the diet, I'm one of these people that was told years ago that you need to eat small and frequent meals if you got diabetes. So I would eat 4 or 5 times a day. As soon as I get up, I'd eat. A couple hours later, I'd eat another small meal, and so forth the rest of the day. I'd find myself at night, before I go to bed, 10 o'clock at night, going to the refrigerator, open the door looking for a snack. Now, the small meals were the small meals, but I was also snacking in between those. So when I started this diet, I'm sitting there thinking, this is not going to be easy because I'm used to eating so much, so often, all day long. Well, my son was on a similar diet. He's on a carnivore diet. And he was telling me we'd go out, and this is before I started, and he said he didn't want to order, and he wasn't hungry or anything. And I couldn't believe that because we'd go on a trip for a couple of days, and I knew what he was eating, which was nothing, but he said he wasn't hungry and he didn't need to eat. Well, that's what I found out too once I started this. It wasn't going to be as difficult as I thought it was going to be because right away my hunger level came way down. And one of the doctors I follow on YouTube says, if you're not hungry, don't eat. Don't eat because it's dinner time. Don't eat because it's breakfast time. If you're not hungry, don't eat. So I took it to heart. When I was hungry, I would eat a little bit. If I'm not hungry, I wouldn't eat anything. And I found that after several days on this diet, I wasn't getting as hungry as I used to be. And the more you do it, the longer you can go. So the way, I also, you find out also that you need to do intermittent fasting. Which, to me, that seems even harder because now there's periods you're not even going to eat deliberately. What I did, I tried to make my daily eating window from 2 o'clock afternoon to 8 o'clock. A 6-hour window. And that's the only time I'd eat. After I eat my big meal at 8 o'clock, nothing. No snacks, nothing, just the tea that I was telling you about I would drink before I go to bed. And I do this every day. And when I get up in the morning, even before I started the diet, I've never been a person that wakes up in the morning hungry and got to have something to eat until I started with my diabetes, and they told you got to eat all these meals, small meals, and throughout the day. And then I'd wake up and I'd start eating right away. But before that, I never had any hunger when I first got up. I would 11 o'clock before I'd even eat anything. So that wasn't the hard part from the time I went to sleep until 2 o'clock. But the hard part was after 8. 8 o'clock come, that my meal is over. From that till I go to bed and go to sleep, I have a little bit of hunger pangs during that time. So what I would do, if it got to the point rather than eat another meal, I would just maybe cut off a piece of cheese or something like that, and that would, I'd drink some water, I'd think of something else, I'd get busy and do something else, take my mind off of it, and I was fine. So what I'm trying to tell you, if you're interested and you think this might help you, don't be scared to try it, because you'll find that you're not going to be as hungry as you used to be, and it's really easier than you think it's going to be when you start. Now, I want to tell you too, if you're not diabetic and say you just want to lose weight, you're going to lose weight, because what I did when I went back for this result, They did my weight again, and I lost 17 pounds in that 90-day period. I lost 20 pounds pretty quick, probably within 4 to 6 weeks. But then I hit a plateau, and I couldn't lose any weight for like a month. And I'm still in that plateau. One day I'll go up, I'll gain 2 pounds. Next day I'll go and lose 3 pounds, and so forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I can't hit that 20 pound and less. But even though I'm kind of stuck on the weight loss right now, I still notice that I'm burning fat because my clothes are getting looser and looser by the day. So I tell you, when you get to the point, if you plateau and you're not losing like you think you should or want to, hang in there. Just keep doing the same thing over and over, because you are going to lose body fat. Whether the weight or not comes off, you're still going to lose some fat. And eventually, when you lose so much fat, you're definitely going to lose some weight too. So don't let that discourage you. Again, don't do this on your own. Unless you don't have diabetes and you want to try it, by all means go ahead and do it. But if you have diabetes, check with your doctor first. Make sure they know what you're doing and that they're on board and that they understand what tests need to be done in your blood work so that he can check your electrolytes and all that other good stuff. And once you get to that point, hey, do it. And probably if you want to make sure that you stay on it, do something like I did. Make a YouTube channel, because I announced in the first video why I'm doing it. And if I tell the world I'm doing something, it's a lot harder to quit, because you're now responsible to follow up on what you're saying. And so that's the reason I put it on YouTube. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing it. But I did that to kind of hold myself accountable. And if you don't put a YouTube channel up, that's fine, but at least record in a journal or something. Record where you're at when you start. I didn't take any body measurements. I should have, but I didn't. But I do know I'm losing fat. And I'm sure it's the month and maybe a year from now, I should lose quite a bit more. But take a journal, write it down so you can keep track. And get you a meter like I got here. This meter here is one that keeps track and logs in all your readings, and it's uploaded to a cloud to where you can go online and read all the readings you've ever had. But let me go to this one here and look at the log book summary. And what it does, it'll give you a percentage of how many of your tests are within range. It'll tell you how many tests you're doing on an average daily basis. In my case, it's 1.4. And then it'll give you your high test, your average test, and your low test. And if you look at all three of them are blue. That means you're in range. Now, this is for 7 days. Let's go back 90 days. Now it changes a little bit. My high is 242. My average, still within range, 146. And my low is 66, which is really too low. 64% in a 90-day period was within range. And I was doing 1.1 per day for the whole 90-day period. So something like this is good to have, because you can actually go back and look at your individual settings at what time of day and that sort of thing. But get you one of these and use it. It don't have to be this one. Just get one that'll record your test when you take it, and hopefully it'll be one where it'll store in its memory what your results is over a period of time. If not, write them down. So the key thing is to know whether or not you're progressing, whether it's working. And the only way you can do that is to check these, because you'll see whether or not you're in range with each test or out of range. And that'll give you an idea whether or not your A1C is going to drop, or hopefully it's not going to get worse. It shouldn't if you're doing the diet right. But it'll give you some really good information. So do that. And I have had a, like I told you a little bit ago, my weight loss is kind of plateaued. And during that time, I was, besides the food, I was also eating a little bit of cheese, like I was telling you, and I was drinking milk, a glass of milk probably once a day or once every other day. So I think maybe the dairy might be what's holding me up. So I'm going to try to cut back on the dairy a little bit and see if that don't trigger more weight loss. And that's all I wanted to say today, give you an idea where I'm at. And I am tickled to death about this. So if I can do it, you can do it. And that's why I'm putting it on YouTube, to hold myself accountable and prove to you that it can be done. And hopefully that'll give you some inspiration to do it. If you've just gained a lot of weight and you don't know what to do to get off of it, do a ketogenic diet, Atkins, or just carnivore, or just eat meat, that's fine. But make sure you read and understand not only the benefits, but if there's going to be any side effects to it, that sort of stuff. And I would only get my information online or YouTube from a medical doctor, not a quack. You don't want to be listen to people like me to base your decision on. I'm just giving you my results. I'm not a doctor. So that's why I say go to the doctor, find out, and if you're following doctors online, make sure they're reputable people that's got a good background, a lot of subscribers, and they know what they're talking about. And that's it for today. I don't know when the next video is going to be, but hopefully it'll be less than 90 days. And if I start getting some results on the weight loss, I'll do another video there and give you my idea of what I did to contribute to that. So anyway, that's it for today. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.